Hello, dear friends. Hello, Dr Kausthub Desikachar. Namaste to all.
Namaste, Katya. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine now that I see you and here with our friends. And I wish you all happy New Year 2021. I hope that you jump into the new year, or maybe we can say dance into the new year successfully. Dr. Kaustuba is already, you are showing us how you danced. Did you dance into the new year?
No, I'm a very boring person. I go to bed even on the New Year's Eve at around 8:30 in the night. I don't wait for the clock to change. So in some ways, I'm a boring person. So I didn't go to the party or anything like that.
No?
And it's not because of Corona. I do this every year. For me, it's early to bed and early to rise is more important than going to a party on the New Year and dancing.
So you didn't actually dance either with dark or light in this special evening.
Look, I spend almost all the days of the year dancing with the devils and the angels. I don't need a special day to do that on
But
New Year's or something like that.
But maybe you got a very nice present that you're wearing today. Is this a
Very nice.
present?
Very
A
nice. What?
present that you are wearing today? You have a special shirt.
My shirt. Yeah, this is a very one of my favorite shirts because um, it is a Australian designer, and it's based on the Day of the Dead in Mexico. They celebrate the Day of the Dead, and so all these are the skulls of the ancestors that we have to celebrate. So I'm just going to give you a closer view to our audience, and the whole shirt is full of that. So you see, because in my work I also work with ancestral traumas and ancestral healing and things like that. When I saw this shirt, I just chose it without any hesitation. And I don't think many people will choose such a shirt, but when you sent me the topic, I already decided that this will be the one that I will wear for today. And I wonder what our dear audiences think about this shirt. Maybe they are scared.
Yeah, maybe they are scared now. What we will talk about, what will came out in this interview today, huh? So please let us know how do you like Kaustub's shirt. I think also I would just need to ask you just to put a little bit down the speakers because I can hear and maybe the audience, the people can also hear.
Now I put it down. Is
Yes,
okay?
great, thank you. You still hear me, yeah? Yeah. So Rani is already saying that she likes this shirt, and Lenka, amazing shirt. You see, you just you just have an amazing shirt. I think it's a little bit scary, so I prefer more gentle ones. Yeah, I would not buy it for myself, but you can really wear it nicely. Yeah. so so for today, we choose a very, very interesting topic, the dancing with the devils, conscious and subconscious subversion of light. And because this topic it's let's say a little bit off the normal human earth track, we are going to put a little disclaimer that everything what we talk about, that our opinion, Dr. Kasuba opinions and so on, it's just the opinion of ourselves, of course, with the experience and knowledge of Dr. Kausthub Desikachar. And so just take it as information. You can also not take it as, let's say, true or your opinion. Yeah. So that, and when now this is clear, Kaustuba, I think we don't need introduction today. We skipped our introduction, so let's go into chant.
Let's go straight into the chant. Yes, let's do it. Today, I want to choose a chant that is called the Mahamrityunjaya mantra, because that is the mantra which is dedicated to Lord Shiva, who is the master of death and dealing with all the devils. And I will chant it in two ways. One is called the Samhita Patha, which means how the whole chant, the mantra is chanted as it is. And then I will chant also in a particular form that is called the Ghanapatha, which is a more complex formula, but it's words repeating in a particular formula in a very beautiful way. So let's take the blessings of Lord Shiva before we start dancing with the devils. And I'm so glad that some people like the shirt, and thank you, Supriya, that you also say that you don't just like the shirt, you love me also. Namaste. I also love you, dear. Namaste. त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् ॐ त्र्यंबकं यजामहे त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं त्र्यंबकमिति त्र्यंबकम् यजामहे सुगन्धिं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनगुं सुगन्धिं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनगुं सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् सुगन्धिमिति सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनमिति पुष्टिवर्धनम् ओर्वारुकमिव बन्धनादिवेर्वोर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् इव बन्धनादिवेव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्बन्धनादिवेव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्बन्धनात् मृत्योर्बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीया मृत्योर्मुक्षीय मामुक्षीय मृत्योर्मुक्षीय मुक्षीय मामृतादमृतान् मुक्षीय मामृतात् मामृतादमृतान् मामृतात् अमृतादित्यमृतात् शांति शांति शांति। Namaste, friends.
Namaste. So, Kaustuba, living on this realm in the earth, yeah, it's like a feeling that we are somehow between two energies that we already spoke many times about, between light and between dark. And sometimes, or most of the times, seems like we need to choose in small events, in big events in life, that we need to choose light or dark, little light, less dark. You know, it's like it's some sort of dance between that, and we are dancing with either light or dark. Is this like that?
Well, there are two dimensions to this. At one point, we don't necessarily have a choice because we are somehow um, guided by our karma, present or past, or even future. And we are here on this earth because of that karmic destiny. And we are guided by that towards, let's say, towards the divine, towards the light. That's why we are given a chance, because in the past life we have not yet reached our destination of light, and that is why we are given another chance. However, as we are taking multiple lives in our history and also being influenced a lot by our ancestors,
Yes.
we continue the journey of life, and very often we are, it's a very beautiful title, we are subverting from the light consciously or unconsciously, and sometimes consciously because we are tempted by the devil, and sometimes unconsciously because we are not really aware that we are being controlled. Consciously, for example, it's the example that I gave you some time ago. Let's say I go to a cafe, and in that cafe, there is different choices. And what I see first is that there is a beautiful set of very fresh, and that looks so tempting and delicious.
French
And
croissant.
yeah, right next to that croissant is, let's say, a salad of red cabbage.
Good.
Now, intellectually, I know that the cabbage probably is healthier for me, but obviously, I'm tempted to go for the croissant because it's much more delicious and comfortable. So, in some ways, what we are doing is we are choosing based on what is comfortable, not based on what is right or what is healthy, because choosing what is right or what is healthy is not always very easy. In Ayurveda, for example, there is a discussion where some tastes are addictive and very dangerous, like sweet, like salty, and spicy. Now, if you look at these three tastes, for example, they are very addictive. You see the sugar addiction that we have.
Yeah.
The same with salt addiction. Chips
Yeah.
are always put, chips or peanuts in bars. They're always very salty. Popcorn is very salty in the cinemas. So we
Yeah.
can't just stop with one chip. I guarantee that there are very, very few people in the world who will be able to stop with one chip in their mouth
Yeah. Not
or
me.
one peanut, because the
Yeah.
salt is so addictive. And it's not the chip or the peanut, because if you remove the salt from the peanut or from the chip, you will be able to stop with one.
Yeah, you're right.
In
Yeah.
fact, even half, because you will spit it out because it's not very tasty.
Yeah.
But the salt makes it irresistible. The same with spicy food. You come to India, the spicy food is so spicy. It's very tempting. It's kind of like very intense, and it's like kind of taking over. So, in a way, we get tempted by this because it's much more easier to stay with these kind of temptations that are so called giving us comfort. And in a way, this is the work of the dark energy because it is preventing us from going towards the light. If you look at nature, everything moves towards the light. When you take a plant, it's always growing towards the light. You look at animals, they're always looking towards the light. It's only we human beings that we are somehow suffering and from this, because we are more attracted to materialism than consciousness or spiritualism. Spirit is always light, but matter is always dark. That's why in the Vedas, matter is always considered dark. Tamasaha. Tamas means darkness. Matter is called tamas. All matter. Of course, it's made of sattva, rajas, and tamas, but matter is referred to as the dark one, because that's not the light one. It's the opposite of the light. Light is spirit or the divine, but matter is always dark.
So this means also, let's say, our body.
Part of the body. There's one part of the body that is matter, one part of the body that is spirit.
Yeah, so we will talk about Earth and its let's say spiritual destination somehow later on. Let's discuss furthermore about what are the symptoms that we are, let's say, caught in the dance with the darkness. What can we, have a self-reflection that, stop, I am dancing with the devil now. Okay, we covered chips and we covered sugar. What are things that are really like symptoms that we can see in ourselves, maybe?
Yeah, before we go on to that, there's a very interesting question for which I don't know the answer from the comment. You missed it, my dear Katja.
No, I saved it.
Your dear friend is asking, how many skulls are there?
Yeah, this is the very important question. Sorry, Shri, I forgot. Sorry, Kaustubha. So here we have a very, very special question. How many skulls are there on your shirt? Let's count.
Not enough. My answer is not enough. Maybe I need more. Anyway, coming back to your questions about the symptoms. I feel, and this is my view, I always qualify this is my view, and I will share what can be shared in public platforms and not what is. My view is that there are two groups of symptoms. One is when the devils or the dark energy is operating as in a let's say in an active or an aggressive way, and one set of symptoms that is making us act in a passive way. And both have only one purpose. The purpose is that we serve these demonic forces or negative forces. Now, the active or the aggressive way that the symptoms will manifest is things like violent behavior. Very simple. You just look at some of the riots that are happening now in certain parts of the world. It's basically, it's not really violence for a just cause. It's not really violence for a just cause. It's violence for an evil cause. So this is, yes. So violence as this kind of a social systemic uprising. Whereas if you look at the peaceful protest of the Black Lives Matter movement, that's not the devil. That's for a just cause.
Yeah.
And the protest is very peaceful. It's not violent. Whereas you see recently there has been some violent protest that is not for a just cause. Now, violence could also be like individual violence targeted towards other members of society. For example, domestic violence, where somebody who's taken over by these dark forces is beating up family members. Or rape. Some rape is a very strong form of violence towards another human being, which is dominated by the dark forces. Because by nature, if we were all natural and connected to the nature, to the light, we will not behave this kind of way. So these are some symptoms of how these things will manifest in an active way. In a passive way, it will make people procrastinate. It will make people have problems like chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, depression, etc., where it makes the person more heavy and not be able to do something. Burnout, for
Yeah.
example, these kind of things are symptoms that will manifest where unexplained illnesses come, unexplained depression, unexplained heaviness. It kind of just collapses the whole person. It just collapses the whole person and draws all this energy. And this is how I see, I would say that the dark energies are taking over a person. These are few ways. There are certain things that I don't really want to share in
Yeah.
this kind of forum because it's not meant to be shared in this kind of forum. But these are very common ways in which you can see. And these are not psychological issues because psychologically, if these people are taken to psychologists or psychotherapists or even psychiatrists, this is not going to disappear. We need a spiritual intervention, which is becoming more and more rare in today's time. And I mean spiritual, I don't mean religion. I don't mean religious intervention. There are procedures today, even now, that give us access to influence these kind of problems, but they are limited to very, very few people now, and these people are more and more in hiding rather than in open. So there are procedures to deal with this, but it's not psychological problems, it's not psychiatric problems, and often they are diagnosed as this because modern medicine is tending to look at everything only from the point of view of material science. Modern medicine does not accept spirit,
Yeah.
energy, consciousness. Those kind of domains don't form part of the modern medical approach, and therefore there is no system for that. There is no, if you don't accept something, how are you going to have a
Does not
system for
exist.
that? Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's also challenging for modern science to have this approach. I don't deny this, is because modern science is also based on what we call experimental validation, where when you repeat the experiment, you have similar outcomes. But in these kind of domains, when you repeat the experience, it will not be the same experience, even with the same person. It will be different each time because it's very, very important to understand that it's not necessarily psychiatric problems. And many times we abuse people by thinking that it's a psychiatric problem and sending them to a psychiatric ward and things like that. And in reality, it's not. These are all spiritual issues, and that is the problem.
Yeah, but you mentioned also before, like let's say these are extreme cases and which modern science has no answer. Yeah, because actually, how can you cure something that, in your opinion, does not exist? I think that in the future this will change, but let's address the symptoms that you mentioned, like depression, procrastination. You know, this is also very similar to sometimes and anxiousness to
Oh,
my state or the state of someone else. I think also, yeah, all of us.
yes, in certain cases, all these could be like proper illnesses, but in certain cases, these would not be this kind of proper illnesses as well. But I have to say one more thing I forgot to say. When these dark forces manifest in an aggressive form, it's not only things like violence or these kind of things, but it also could be in overdoing things like addictions, for example,
Yeah.
addictions or pushing oneself too hard. In modern time, we sometimes classify these kind of people as type A personality overachievers, but it's not. It's actually a disease. It's actually something that is making them sick in the long term. And
Yeah.
this is why we need to be very, very careful how we judge success in modern society, because we have kind of brainwashed people that the more you achieve, the more you are successful, the more you have, the more you are successful. And we somehow start to value more quantity than quality, and that's the problem. And we don't need more to do more and more and more to define a success. In fact, if you do one or two things which are brilliant, that's better. than if you do 2,000 things which are just mediocre.
Yeah, very interesting. So it's like some sort of cycle, like we are in addiction, and the dark, the devil, the dancing makes this addiction, and it's also filling it up. Yeah. So it's like very, let's say, vicious dance that we really need to be a lot to have self-awareness about that, which is very difficult, or to, like, let's say, collapse, or to have an illness, or to have a relationship difficulties. Like, we need to stop and look, this is the dance. Yeah.
Yes, but you chose a very beautiful photograph to represent this
Yes.
topic in your Facebook page. I don't think everybody has seen it. Um,
Yes, if someone can post it, I cannot post it from the StreamYard, but if someone can post it in the comments, I would like to, yeah, that we can
Yeah,
see.
so it's a very interesting photograph that Katya has kind of posted, where
Mhm.
you see that it's a lady dancing with the devil, and her eyes are covered by kind of like an eye mask, or a, what do you say, a cloth.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem, which is that we don't see that we are being controlled. We don't see that we are being controlled by the devil. We don't see that we are dancing with the devil because we become very blind to it.
Yeah.
And we become very blind because people have started showing to us, uh, yeah, showing to us that uh, that the devil in its sweet form, in its violent form, in its aggressive form, is actually a friend. And that's why people value more polite people who tell lies than people who are honest and straightforward.
Yes.
And people who are honest and straightforward are the ones who can actually be in the spiritual domain. People who are polite, who tell lies, are unable to be in the spiritual domain. That's why if you look at all of our Vedic traditional and also in Oriental traditional methods, when they talk about one of the qualities of a student who is possible to be in a spiritual path, Satyavada is one of the things. The person who speaks the truth, who expresses the truth, not just speaking, but also
Uh-huh.
expresses by action. Unfortunately, that's the problem today because we are all very polite. We want the words also to be sweet, like the sugar that we love to consume. And I think that is why it becomes very difficult because you are dancing with an invisible partner who is controlling your moves and you don't even know that they are controlling your moves. So, in a certain way, we are lost because we can't see who is controlling us. We think somebody else is, but it's not. And this is the problem also because very often, because of all these sweet words and sweet acts of sweet gestures, the devil kind of seduces us, and then we give ourselves to the devil and become blind. And that's why I really, really honor what my father said, because sometimes these things happen even in between close people like family members or close people like student and teacher and things like that. My father would always say, when you are looking for a guru or a teacher, keep both eyes open. When you find a teacher, close one eye. Because it's possible that there are even teachers and gurus and things like that. And I'm certainly seeing this in a lot of ashrams today, in a lot of traditions today, where the gurus are exploiting the teachers by first seducing them, and then the students become so blind and the students give everything to the ashram or the teacher, and the students become sick. They get cancer, they get burnout, they get fibromyalgia, or they become violent, they become confused, they become aggressive, and then they are just kicked out from the ashram, and maybe they're replaced by somebody else very quickly. And this is a problem, and I see this in so many parts of the world. It's not only in India, but also in many other parts of the world. I'm seeing this because a lot of people who are burnt by these kind of situations come to me for their spiritual healing, and I'm helping them. So I know a lot of stories from all over the world. And this is the problem because you're dancing with somebody with great trust and an open heart that this person is going to help you, but it's actually a devil. That's what Jesus said, the wolf in sheepskin.
Yeah.
And that's why it's very, very dangerous. And this is what we have to change. And unfortunately, people are suffering so much that they are not able to open their eyes and actually see that what's behind the person is something that is not light, that it's dark.
Yeah, because they are suffering so much. Yeah, so
Yes.
it's like they are grasping to that only thing that they know. Let's say, like I know, smoking, maybe alcohol, chips, all that stuff. It's something that we know that we already danced. Yeah, and very difficult to go towards something that will really change. Yeah, so we
Correct.
are afraid of change. I also think that the people. Yeah.
Yes.
So, what is, by your opinion, the devil's most dark, the most devil dance with human, like the darkness of the dance?
I think the darkest of the dark is basically that it's it's facilitating people to become violent, aggressive, and taking away life from the people. Because the darkness, it's like a dark color and a white bright color. When you look at the color, the black color and the white color doesn't absorb anything, it reflects back everything. Whereas the dark is consuming all the light and it wants more and more and more. So the worst thing that this can do is that it not only depletes that person, but it also wants to draw other people through that person that it is drawing. Like, for example, um, let's say there is somebody who wants to suck the energy of one, one student or one friend or whatever, that if that student or friend has influence over other people, it's asking this person, this friend, to bring the other people as well to suck. So it's kind of killing not just one person's energy, but many persons' energies. And that's the worst thing that it can do, because then it's actually killing the concept of life itself. I'm not saying death, but the capacity to be alive, the capacity to stay in our dharma and not blindly follow the commands of what other people are demanding out of us. It's very, very important. And that's why real gurus, real teachers, real acharyas will not really want actually guide them to be on their own path.
Hmm. Yeah. So it sounds to me like, experience we all have in life. Yeah, because it's very, let's say, creepy feeling. Oh, I am dancing with the devils all my life. Yeah, so I'm sure, dear listeners, my dear friends, from all over the world, if you had any such kind of experience with dancing with the devil, I know I had, and for sure I think I will also have, is the question of how we manage it. Yeah, so that we don't have a blindfolds on our eyes. So just let us know in the comments, and maybe Kaustub can comment something. Yeah, if you experience some very very strange dancing with devil, would be very interesting. Yeah. So, and how actually you solved it. So just write us in the comments, huh? Because for sure you will comment on that kind of dance. So what should we do then? How should we, let's say, if it's even possible in a way, outsmart the darkness? Is this even possible? So how can we, let's say, destroy the devil?
I don't think we should destroy the devil, because that destruction concept itself is that of the devil. And if you try to do that, you are only falling for the trap. And it's also not possible to destroy the devil because the dark and light are two sides of the same concept. You can't have light without dark. You can't have dark without light. It's impossible. So of course it's possible. Of course it's possible, because the way we deal with this is first step is we remove the blinds. We have to open our eyes. Because if you don't open your eyes, you will continue to believe in what you are believing. And that is part of the problem today as well. I very, very recently, just a day or two ago, talked to somebody who is caught in a cult. And she is going through a lot of problems through this cult. But she does not want to see that it's a cult. So you can't help that person. The first job for each of us is that we remove our blinds, and nobody can remove it for us except ourselves.
Yeah.
Nobody can remove that except ourselves. That's the first step. The second step is we need to turn toward the light. And this is a may seem a very difficult thing, but actually it's not. Because in reality, we only need a little bit of light. We don't need a lot. And in fact, we cannot deal with a lot of light. There's not one person I've met in this world who can look into the sun for 1 hour continuously. It's not possible. Or 24 hours. It's not possible. We just need a little bit of light, because that little bit of light is enough to open the door of darkness and allow the light to sneak in, and the little light can illuminate a whole dark room. So that's part of the problem, because many people think, oh, I have so much darkness, I need so much light. Actually not. And I tell you from my own personal experience, I have been in a lot of darkness in my life. I have been a lot of darkness in my life, and only a little bit of light helped me. I didn't have the same amount of light as I had darkness, because I would not be able to manage it. So this is where we have to slowly turn toward the light and embrace it. We don't need to be obsessive that we need to do more and more light and we have to chase the light and blah, blah, blah. It's not needed, because we cannot manage it. And to give reasonable amount of time, but at the same time, not put a boundary for time. There are many people who think next day they are cured.
Yes.
It's not going to happen like that. And there are certain people who put certain boundaries of time, saying, oh, by December 31st, 2023, I will be cleared. You can't put those kind of limitations like that.
Exactly.
You have to light is boundaryless. It has no boundary of space, no boundary of time. So that's the step, the process I would say is that we turn toward the light and embrace those behaviors that are things where we embrace actions and decisions that are taking us towards the light, and step away from those actions that are taking us towards more of the same darkness or things from the past. We need to move little by little away from the dark and towards the light, step by step. We don't need to run. We don't need to jog. We don't need to take a flying saucer to go fast. We just need to take a little step at a time, and that's enough.
Yes, but great. So it's like we put the blinds off, and we step by step embrace light, little light. So this is very hopeful, very encouraging. So I will ask you let's see, my personal experience lately was that not let's say that kind of darkness, but it's some sort of, let's say, darkness with perception of myself. So I have all my life a feeling there is something dark inside me. Yeah. And it's really very, let's say, some sort of I can relate to that. I was not violent or something like that, but I could feel it inside. Yeah. But lately I had a insight. So I was traveling with my consciousness to your place, and Kausthub in front of you. So you helped me, and I had an insight. Actually, you were such a clear mirror for me. It was I saw myself by you seeing me, and I saw a big light around me. And I realized in that moment, like really deeply realized that I am light. I knew before, okay, I'm light, but also I'm dark and so on. Yes, I accept both, yeah. So, but I realized how big light I am. And I was like, oh my gosh, my perception of myself was really wrong. So that is really something I think we maybe need to address, also how we perceive ourselves. Yeah.
Yes, that is part of the thing that the devil is also doing, or the dark energy is also doing, is that it's the invalidation of oneself.
Yeah.
It says you are nobody. You always, and that's the thing that many of the gurus or teachers or spiritual healers or whatever doctors or whoever is abusing, because they kind of make the student depend on them, saying you are nobody without me. And then that creates the dependence, and the person never believes that they are anything. They and what they don't realize is that the healer or the teacher or the doctor or whatever is sucking their energy, and for their own life. And this is very common, you see that, because many gurus and teachers or healers and doctors and other people, they don't give anything to their person, the other person. When I say they don't give, it's not about treatment or medicine or prescription. The heart energy they don't give. They just take the heart energy, because students are so devoted. They bring things, they give money, they bring flowers, they are so affectionate. They may send greeting cards, they may send postcards, but the teachers or the healers or the doctors or anybody, they don't do anything in return. And that's the problem, because then they are just, their energy is being sucked away by these people. And that is very, very another sign that we are being controlled by somebody else and we have lost our power. So that's very, very important. And that's why it's very beautiful that you shared that you saw your own light, because each of us, we are light. We are both light and darkness. It depends on what we want to activate and act from. And that is very, very important to understand. It's the same thing happens in couple relationship, where many times people say, oh, couple relationship is give and take, which means one person gives, the other person takes. That's not right. Both have to give and take.
Yeah.
Otherwise, only one is sucking the energy.
Yeah.
Exchange of energy, both directions flowing. The same with friendships. The same with friendships. The same with other things. It must not only be that, we are just sucking somebody's energy. That's not right. Or we are allowing somebody else to suck our energy. That is also not right. That's part of the change, is empowerment and turning around, saying, I won't be looking at my darkness and being dependent. I can be independent.
Yes.
Even if we have less energy, as long as we are alive, we can be independent.
Yeah.
We don't need to be dependent on anybody except the divine.
Yeah, let's check the questions or the comments. So Aurelie, she is writing, one day Kausthub used this image. It's like someone hitting on you. If you don't answer one moment, he turns or she turns away. It helps her a lot. Yes. Valerie is also commenting, not answering is good trick, or nurture and give anything to that person. Yeah.
Yeah, I think here hitting on you, she's not meaning the literal hitting, but more like the romantic flirting hitting on you.
Yeah. And then we have Malarvili. At times,
Malarvili.
Malarvili. Malarvili, yeah, okay. At times, devils teach a better lesson in our lives. Wow, this is interesting. Devils are also God's channel, comes in a negative form to uplift us. And she's putting a smile, moving towards light. Agree to Kaustubh says, light and dark is part of our lives, like yin and yang. So, yeah.
Yes, everything is a lesson. The God is testing us to see if we are going to surrender to the darkness and just enjoy the sweet, salt, and spicy food, or we are going to sometimes also reach our hand and extend it to the red cabbage. Honestly, I hate red cabbage, but sometimes I may have to reach it. Sarah knows, my dear Sarah, my English teacher, she knows. She knows that I sometimes reach out for the red cabbage, but very rare. But this is metaphoric. It's
Yeah,
what we have to do in life as well.
yeah,
It's very, the darkness can be taken as a lesson, or we can just procrastinate and say, oh, I can't do anything, I can't do anything, I can't do
yeah,
anything. Those who say they cannot do anything are falling very much into the trap of the devil. There are many, many people I've taught where they're saying, oh, I'm in a bad relationship, but I cannot get out. It's not that they cannot get out, they just don't want to get out for some reason or the other. They can always take that decision. Many people say, oh, I cannot leave a cult because I love the practices, I love the community of the cult, blah, blah, blah. It's an excuse, because if they are really good friends, they will be your friends even if you leave the cult.
yeah.
This is very important. So there are things like this that we have to understand. It's not that we cannot do it, we just don't want to do it. That's the thing I always believe in.
So we need to somehow outdance the eternal darkness. Oh my God, that seems really impossible for our human minds, yeah, for our ego. Why, let's say, why light and light beings like angels, let's say, why they don't intervene more? Why are not interfering with that, with us? Like,
They are interfering. We just don't want to listen to them.
yeah,
Our body, our mind, our emotions will never, our breath, for example, they will always give us a message. Intuition, for example, it'll
yeah,
always give us a message that something is not right. We just choose to ignore it for some reason or the other. It's maybe also because darkness is much more easier to stay in, or maybe even darkness is much more smarter because it's older.
okay,
You see, if you take the Bible, for example, okay,
yeah,
what's the first thing in the Bible? There was darkness first, then only God said, let there be light. So obviously, darkness is a little bit more ancient than light. So it knows a little bit more tricks than light. Even though light may be very powerful, darkness is the ancient one. More tricks, so it knows how to trap us. But light always finds a way. We just need to listen to it. We give away our intuition. Recently I've been talking to some people who have talked to me about how their partner has cheated on them. And I said, did you never feel that this was happening? And the person said, of course I had a sensation, but I did not want to believe in that. That's
yeah,
basically a person giving away that intuition, which is telling them something. It's because we have been told not to listen to our intuition. So light always interferes, light always comes by our way, but we don't want to take it. We want to look the other direction. And that's why we need to turn toward the light and take it. It may not be easy because if you want, the problem is also that we want change, but we don't want to change. Do you
yeah.
understand what I mean?
Yes, yes,
We
exactly.
want to hang out with the same friends. We want to hang out with the same community. We want to hang out with the same set of behaviors, but we want to be light and enlightened. That's not possible.
Yeah, exactly.
So the problem is we want change, but we don't want to change. And that is the key thing. That is the key thing.
Yeah. I just realized while listening to you saying darkness is older, I know why this dance actually started. The darkness was lonely.
Perhaps. And it needed two to tango, so light was created.
And then the darkness said, let there be light, and suck.
I don't think darkness said, let there be light. Probably God said, oh,
God,
darkness
yes,
is
God,
so
okay.
lonely. So let's give him a
Darkness was
partner.
sad and lonely. And God was like lonely, like, what's this, just darkness? Let's have just dance, yeah?
And I want to tell you something. It's very interesting because I want to make this point as well. Um, in Sanskrit, for example, there are many words for the light that is feminine in gender. Jyoti, Deepa, Divya, all these are words that are representing light,
Huh?
feminine in gender. Of course, there are some masculine words as well, but many words that are feminine in gender. Whereas for the darkness, the heaviness, it's only masculine. It's because it's very structured. The idea is
Wow.
that feminine energy is more spontaneous, it moves, it flows. Light flows, it's not
Yeah.
a container.
It's not
It's
like,
not a container. And I think that is part of the problem because in
wow.
the last 2 or 3 thousand years of organized religion,
Yeah.
people have tried to control the woman who are not meant to be controlled. The women are meant to be spontaneous, free, and wild.
Yes.
But the religion, organized religion of every society, I don't pinpoint one, wants to control the woman and put the woman into a box, into a prison. And that is the problem. Light cannot be in a box. Even though we call light box in photography, it cannot be in a box.
Yes. So I'm saying again with Rani, yeah. So my dear friends, especially female friends, but also male friends, because we have a female, you have a female part and we have male part, yeah, like Shiva Shakti. But let's say the women that we were so suppressed in thousands of years, let's be now, what did you say? Free, spontaneous, and wild. Let's be light. Let that flow be really expressed through us. This is why I'm expressive art therapist, my dear friends. So it's like that. It's full of light creativity. So another question that we are coming now to the, let's say, beginning, to the earth. So does earth as a, let's say, a planet, as a realm, as a dimension, has anything to do with this? Does our earth has karma?
Of course, Earth is material. It's why it's called a planet. It has no light of its own. Earth is dependent on the sun for its energy. So all the planets, they are matter, they are dark. But of course, all matter, it serves a purpose. It's through that earth that we are having organic matter through which we realize our potential. So, in a way, earth has, let's say, a dharma to help us fulfill our dharma and our karma. But earth is matter,
Yeah.
the same like other planets. That's why they, because they don't have their own inherent light. Stars, on the other hand, they have their own light, so they're considered a little bit more special because they are not just matter, but they are a combination of matter and light. Whereas Earth doesn't have light. I mean, if you remove the sun, we are going to be in darkness. We don't have our own light.
Yes.
I don't think we have enough electricity to power the whole Earth. It's not possible. We need the light of the sun. Even the moon doesn't have its own light. So it's only the stars that have light. So we are definitely made of matter, and therefore we have the Earth is definitely fulfilling that role of a dark matter. Earth is dark matter.
Well, okay. So I have a feeling that in the future is going to be very, very important to decide either for light or for dark, or either more for light. We know that we are constantly dancing, yeah, between light and dark, but it's going to be like a decision. This is, I am pro light. This is light. And with every step of our life, choosing light. So, now we are in this strange, very challenging time, Corona time. We are even more down, more passive, more procrastination, more stress, which is more dark. So, how do we gain more and more strength to really have decision? Okay, light, I go towards light.
First and foremost, we can never always be with light.
Hmm.
100% light is not possible. Even when you look at the great sages, the great rishis, the great Maharishis of the past, they all had their moments of darkness.
Yeah,
Buddha, for example, he suffered a lot before he became more and more enlightened. And even after he became enlightened, it is not that he never had any moments of darkness. There would have been. But
yeah,
what is important is that as a overall life, the light guided them enough that they achieved something great, they accomplished their dharma, and then they left. That is important.
hmm,
Buddha was not from his birth till his death always light. There were moments where he was suffering as well.
yeah,
So we will also have the same, and it's the same for every person. We
yeah,
will have these moments. What is important is that we endure these moments of darkness to learn from it and empower ourselves to connect with the light and achieve our dharma. Not we don't doesn't mean that we have to earn $5 million or
yeah,
whatever, because that doesn't mean anything.
exactly. Yeah.
Take, for example, Patanjali. He wrote Yoga Sutra, which is such a small text of only 195 sentences. It's just basically like 4 pages if you type it, you know. But
Yeah.
we are still talking about it about 3,000 years later. That is quality. That is, and it doesn't mean that Patanjali was always right. Patanjali also would have had his darkness. So this is very, very amazing. That is what we have to do. We have to achieve this.
Okay, great. So we are slowly coming to an end of this interview. It's been again very quick and very interesting. So, my dear friends, thank you for joining us. Please join us again. Please do share our posts for the other people also to come and experience these interviews and have this knowledge, and of course have more light. Yeah. And I wish you, when you dance with the devils, to choose a very good music. At least you would have nice music. So the rest, Dr. Kaustuba said, very, very good advices and very important knowledge that we gained today from you. Thank you very much. Let's say for now, thank you very much, all of you, and ask Kaustuba, if you can chant for us the chant for the end of this interview. And I'm wishing you again Happy New Year 2020, one full of love and light.
Good, good. Thank you so much. I don't know if we wished the people Happy New Year in the beginning. Maybe we forgot. So Happy New Year, everybody.
We did.
Okay. So we'll do a small peace chant where we are asking that not only us are peaceful, but also all the plants and animals, like the two-legged animals and the four-legged animals, etc. Om Tachayovaravranimahe Ratay Yajnaya Ratay Yajnapataye Daive Swastirastu Naha Swastirmanushebhya Ordhvanjeghato bheshajam Shanno astu dvipade Shan chatushpade Om Shantir Shantir Shanti. Namaste.